it could be a blessing or curse. I think we feel a responsibility to share what our reality is, being Black, African, queer men, because there's such a gap as it relates to representation, especially here in the UK. I think maybe, well, not even maybe, we see way more representation from the US.
Yeah.
A lot more diversity in the types of couples that we see, a lot more conversations that are happening there. Here, it feels like there's such a gap that we have almost taken on the responsibility to fill that gap. And I wish it didn't have to be that way, but unfortunately, and we could shy away and just be like, no, we're not going to take responsibility for that. But I think we made the choice to fill that void because we know the impact it would have had on us growing up.
Right.
So we keep that front and center. Like we're doing this for our younger child, honestly. Like, and if y'all are here for the ride and y'all enjoy it, then so be it. But we're really doing that for our younger child. Yeah.
So hey y'all, my name is Brandon. I'm a writer from Gaye magazine, and today for our second annual Love on Live series, on our second day, we'll be talking with T and Drew. Now, for some of you who may not know them, they are widely known on TikTok for giving us insight into their relationship, specifically as a Black gay couple. So we get to see y'all travel, we get to see y'all doing date nights. I've been seeing all the sketches y'all been doing, so we get it all. So definitely glad to have y'all here.
No, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, definitely. And for those, that may not have realized already, they're coming from the UK, so it's 11 here. So we really appreciate y'all.
Thank
for
you.
Joining us.
We've got our tea and everything, so we represent it.
London things.
You alright, Gob? No, I'm not gonna, let me not fool the rumors.
So let's get it started. So I've seen y'all did part 1 and part 2 about how y'all met, but I haven't saw the full story yet. So I kind of wanted to know the full story. I know y'all met at the party and all, but I want the full story. And I know y'all have known each other for what, almost a little over 10 years. Yeah.
Okay. This is such a funny way to start because, funny enough, we just dropped. We're going to drop our YouTube, which we talk about the story fully of how we met. So it's just so funny that that's the first question. We met 11 years ago. It was at a dinner party, but prior to that, Drew slid into my DM. Sorry, I'm T.
Wow.
Here's Drew.
Yes.
Drew slid into my DMs. Basically saying, hey, do we know each other? And I was in a relationship, so I just said no, like, we don't know each other kind of thing. And then I walked into a dinner party, I think this was like a few weeks later, and then I saw Drew. So we got talking, and I think at this point I hadn't realized that Drew was the person who messaged me.
I knew who he was, though.
You already knew who he was.
As soon as he came in, I was really good with faces back then. I feel like as I've gotten older, I've gotten worse with faces, but I saw you straight away and I was like, oh, that's the guy that I DM'd on Instagram. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but before Instagram had DM, you had to find a profile and then go on another app called Kick Messenger. I think it was.
I remember Kick.
Yes. So I tracked him down on Kick and I messaged him, and yeah, I didn't know he was in a relationship at the time before anyone calls me a home wrecker. And then it wasn't until the dinner party that we actually met in person. And he had broken up by that point. Just literally, he'd broken
up. To clear the air.
And then, just the stars aligned.
Yeah. So that's how we officially met. But there's a whole full story of that night, which is romantic and cute in its own way.
Sorry, what was the last part? I didn't hear that.
I said there was a whole full story of that night in terms of when we met, sort of the energy, the conversation. I pretty much met him that first night and did not leave him until 10 a.m. the next day.
Oh, wow.
So it was, I met his friends the same night. So it was very much
accelerated.
Everything was just, so I kind of guessed from that night that, okay, he's kind of interesting. So I've not left since then. So here we are.
So y'all kind of, it sounded like y'all kind of had an instant chemistry when y'all met in person.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
big time.
Yeah.
I think it was the most like, because I back then at least, like, I was not really a flirtatious person. I feel like you brought that out of me, like being able to tap into like that flirtatious energy, that banter, that like, I feel like you've really drawn that out of me. But that night I remember it coming to me so like intuitively, like being able
Yeah.
to feed off of your chemistry, being able to flirt, being able to like have a back and forth, and like there was just a really potent chemistry that night.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So T kind of brought you out.
Yes.
He
Like
had,
Diana Ross.
no, he had all the, God, I'm going to use this word, swag. He had all the
Right.
swag, like in terms of he could dance, he could dress, everything. But then it was just like the chat, just the banter. And once he started giving it back and forth, then it was like, okay, let's play. And it was a fun night. So, yeah.
So you had the charisma, T, and Drew had the swag, and together y'all got the charisma and the
Yeah.
swag.
Yes, exactly that. He's brought that out of me. Yes.
And I think the thing about Tosin, he's very honest and upfront about what he wants. He's straight to the point. He doesn't play any games. So I think I was used to engaging with guys who weren't clear about their intentions. So because he was clear about his intentions, like energetically, and just the way he presented, it made it more comfortable for me to like to reciprocate based on the energy he was giving out. Well, there were no mixed signals.
Nope.
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted, so let's go.
I kind of have a guess of it, but which one would you say is an introvert? Which one would you say is more extroverted?
Ooh.
I kind of already have my guess, but
What's your guess? What's your guess? Let's do that first. What's your guess?
T, you're more extroverted, and I feel like Drew is more introverted. Would y'all say maybe with y'all both being together, it kind of maybe ambivert? Y'all are both, embracing both sides. What would you say?
I'm interested to hear your take.
Okay, I am very introverted in the sense that I can stay home and not need to go anywhere, but I love a good party. So that's where my extroverted sort of comes out. Whereas I feel like you're introverted, but he can go out with friends, dinners, lunch. Like he can spend time, like quality time. And if I go out, I just want to have a good time and come back home. So I think that
you like need time to like recharge after you.
Yeah.
And I would say it's changed over time. I would say before the pandemic, I was a lot more extroverted and you were a lot more introverted. But then I think after the pandemic, I've become a lot more like selective with how extroverted I am. And I'm very like selective based on like the environment, the people around me. Like we even remember when we had this conversation with two of our good friends, Faye and Kolawani, and they were saying how when she introduced me to her partner, one of her friends introduced me to her husband, and her husband thought that I didn't like him because I was a bit guarded and a bit introverted, and we had to. Whereas Tosin was very open and very like very engaged with him.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I had to tell him afterwards. It's just like I'm the type of person who like. I need to be able to feel your energy first and then let my guard down slowly and then kind of I become more extroverted, whereas I feel like you're more extroverted, like you straight off the bat.
You can get into the social scene really quick. So maybe like an inverted extrovert and a external introvert or something.
Ebbs and flows. I like that.
So another major thing that I wanted to know is obviously y'all's wedding, which is on, correct me if I'm wrong, the French Riviera, the south of France. Yes. So I love the video, love the outfits, love the production, but I think the biggest thing that stuck to me was the energy. I kind of felt the energy that your friends and family had around y'all. And I'm not sure whose mom it was, but I know there was a woman making a speech, and she was talking about basically, how it's ignorant to throughout your child for being gay. You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to get y'all's insight into the feelings during the wedding, especially considering, I guess, like cultural upbringing. From what I understand, T, you're from Nigeria, and
Yes, correct.
Drew, I think you were more so raised in UK, but your family's from Uganda. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So with that in mind, I kind of wanted to know y'all's feelings with that, you know, cultural context in that era as well. Because that's rare. That's rare.
The deep question.
Oh, my bad.
No, but a good one, because I'm so glad you picked up on the energy of the wedding, because that's something that we are, till this day, something that I think we feel so like potently, and it was like the love just felt so palpable that day. Like it was bouncing off the walls, like from our friends to our family to each other. Like it really felt like a celebration, and everyone's energy felt aligned, and it was so beautiful. I think I can maybe talk to like my experiences with culture and the wedding, and then Tosin can speak to yours if that sounds good, because we're from like different, so we're coming at it from like slightly different like cultural upbringings.
Right.
Yeah,
That's good.
should we go with that? So yes, that was my mum who delivered the speech. She is Ugandan. She moved to this country in the 80s.
Okay.
So I'm the child of immigrant parents, both Ugandan. And I think for them, it was so important that we showed, I guess, I don't want to even call it duality, but I think we wanted to show our Ugandan culture in the wedding. Like you'll even see it in the pre-wedding shoot, like me and Tosin both dressed in traditional attire to show the world that those two things can exist in an African queer body. Like you can own both of those identities and be proud of both of those identities, and you shouldn't be forced to choose. And so seeing my mum in gomesi, like traditional Ugandan attire, the same thing that she would wear to my other siblings' weddings, like them being heterosexual weddings, and her still giving our wedding that same honor and not shying away from her culture was super important. And I mean, we just had floods of comments from like Ugandans saying, "Is that gomesi I see? Is that gomesi I see?" And being like so proud to, I guess, see that sort of representation and it be so clear. I could go on and on about that's acceptance for that my parents have been on, having been Ugandan, being from the cultures that they're from. But I think for them, it was love first, like the love of their children came first over anything else. They had to readjust their expectations of me and the life that they envisioned for me. But at the end of the day, they chose love first. And I'm just so happy that they showed up for us at the wedding in the way that they did. So that's the short answer, even though it was still like long.
No, it was perfect. It was definitely perfect. Yeah, we could take a breather.
It's all good. So I think, let me start with the energy of the wedding. I think it's beautiful to hear from people that have never met us, never know nothing about us, and can just see from the pictures, from the video, the energy that was present that day. I think that just even thinking about it right now, right from, how I put it, the days before the wedding, our friends, it's like God ordained all our friends to be there at that time in the way they showed up. Our friend Africa that did the joining of the marriage, she was there a few days before. She brought peace to the day. Our friends who are in the creative industry were the ones who said, bring your traditional wear. We are going to shoot this, and we're going to make sure it looks the way you've envisioned it, because we did not know. Like, it's like, we want to wear it, we want to be proud, but it's like, we don't know how to shoot it. They came there. And then family. for me personally, a lot of things were going on with my siblings, and some of them were not going to make it, not because of hate towards me or anything like that, mostly personal things, but they were there that day. So everything aligned in the most beautiful way that I could. Like, I think it was beyond our imagination. From friends to the family to the energy, that day was perfect. Like, I would not change anything about that day. Now, I'm talking about the cultural aspect to it. I think that there's so many layers to how we navigate where we are now to where we are going to how we got here. But I think that one thing that has stayed true to us is the fact that it is our lives. No matter what the culture says, no matter what the religion says, no matter what anybody says, you have one life to live. Are you going to live it being happy in who you are, where you are, or are you going to still care about what A, B, C, D has to say about you, what the judgment comes? Because at the end of the day, they finish judging you, but they go back living their life, having a great old time, and you're there. Like, if you can, I think that, so to address the culture part of it is very layered.
Yeah, it is. That's a whole 50-part series.
But the bottom line is, do what makes you happy and stand in it, because nobody else can live your life for you. That's pretty much how we live our life. Whatever we do, we are happy.
I think I want to add one point on that as well. When you were talking about we choose ourselves first, I think culture is something that's also ever evolving and ever changing. And I think culture can be something that you can claim for yourself. So me getting married and having my mum in Gomesi and being married to Tosin and claiming that identity, claiming that cultural Ugandan identity, that becomes culture. I am culture and culture is me. Like, culture is not static. And I claim that culture in the same way anyone else would, and we can look at it through different lenses, but it still doesn't make your culture more valid than my culture. So I think that's the perspective that I have now on culture. I think it's something you can just claim, and it changes.
I'm gonna sit with that throughout the week. That's pretty good. Like, I feel like because it's so dynamic, I feel like you guys kind of get a chance to be pioneers almost, in a way. I feel like it takes actions like these to, like what you said, change the culture for the future. It doesn't have to be this strict heteronormative type of boundary, you know, especially if love is without conditions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the space that we can all inhabit. We can all be pioneers of culture. We can all shape culture how we see fit. I actually found that out from my therapist. I never told you. My first therapist, she was amazing. Shout out to her. But yeah.
So with the wedding, from what I understand, did this kind of inspire y'all to start making like TikToks and? Oh,
that's my husband trying to grab his tea, guys. Sorry. This is why lives are so fun.
There it is.
Okay. So.
Please go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So I'm just thinking, like, did this kind of inspire y'all to make TikToks, like, kind of share that insight into y'all's relationship?
I think we started, funny enough, TikTok before the wedding.
Okay, before the wedding. Okay.
Before the wedding.
Look at the style shoot. I'll let you please talk about that as well.
Okay, we started TikTok before the wedding. I think one thing, Carl and Errol, I think they were interviewed yesterday.
Yes.
One thing, because I watched their interview, and a lot of things they said, I said this live is pretty much going to be like a bingo game of exactly what they said is going to be exactly what we are saying. When we got to the point where we realized that there is so much power in us being together, that there is so much beauty that the world hasn't seen in this lens, that we should be visible for that. Not necessarily because we want, anything out of it. It's more so that we want people to know it can happen. It is real. It's happening right now, but unfortunately, they don't have the privilege to be as visible as we are. So we want to say that, hey, we're here. Like, this is our story. So that's why we started TikTok. Then when the wedding happened, that was when it was like, okay, we don't want to do it just because we're here. It's not like, no, we have to be present. We have to be, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's the journey. I'm not talking about that story because it was such a mess. Okay, so I'll talk about the story.
Yeah, what is the story?
So we went for a wedding style shoot.
For those of you who don't know, like we were opened up to this world through the process of planning our wedding. But essentially, there are styled wedding shoots where a company or like an organization will curate a styled wedding shoot that they use to build up photographers' portfolios, or they use it to like promote a venue or something like that. So they reached out to us to be a part of this styled wedding shoot. And so we were like, oh, this is cool. It was a paid opportunity. I think they wanted to have like more of a diverse representation of like what weddings could look like. So we took part in this project, and it was before our wedding. I don't know how they found us actually. I think they may have found our TikTok. Yeah, and they invited us to be a part of this like styled wedding shoot at this beautiful like country like castle also. And then we posted the styled wedding shoot on our TikTok. And I think that was the first viral video that we had, right? It just blew up, like it reached millions of people. But the primary response, or at least the primary response we felt, was hate.
Oh, wow.
Like it was visceral, like just coming at us. And it was the first time we've ever experienced any sort of online virality. And I think it was overwhelming for us at first, for sure. Like,
I think the reason why we're laughing at it now is because I think there were some things that we did that we kind of knew that like the reaction was not right. So basically, like I said, I'm of Nigerian descent.
Right.
And then the song that I used was Tiwa Savage. So
somebody's son.
And she was singing about somebody's son is going to find her one day and marry her. And I used that for our video, saying that I found somebody's son who's married me. So a lot of people were very like, what the hell? Blah, blah, blah. So that's why now we laugh about it, because like we knew that was going to be the reaction. Right. So
I think we kind of knew, but we still weren't. We knew that we were subverting the message of the song, right?
Right.
But I still don't think we were fully prepared.
Oh no, it was.
I mean, we got through it, we're fine, but I don't think we were fully prepared to the level at which it went like viral.
Yeah, we had to turn off the comments because it was just back to back. Like
you knew there were going to be comments, but not like this flood.
We didn't think it would be. Yeah, we didn't think it would be what it was. But yeah.
Wow. So that was our first interesting journey on TikTok.
But I think that did prepare us for the kind of response we had for our wedding. I think it was good that we had that experience because it prepared us for what came afterwards.
Oh yeah, because we started blocking and deleting any negative comments from the web. Because TikTok has a thing where if you let those comments fade, they take you into a world.
Into like a hate world.
Yeah, hate world.
So when we posted our wedding video, we're like, okay, we have to make sure that the people that need to see this are the people that are right, and the message is for them. So any negative comments, like I think my sister was logged in, everybody was logged in. Let's go. Block, delete.
And we also didn't want other people to think that like we've been able to, fortunate enough to build resilience in our relationship over 10 plus years, build resilience in ourselves and our identities. We didn't want other people to think that like, oh, this was, I don't know. We didn't want to like pull a veil over things, but we also just want it to be like a celebration. Like it's our wedding. We don't want that sort of negative response to take center stage on our platform. So yeah. But that algorithm, oh child.
And I was gonna ask, like, did y'all, I mean, it sounds like y'all don't, or maybe not as much, but did y'all have any like apprehension or maybe even like anxiety about like sharing more and more of y'all's lives, you know?
I think it's okay. we have a battle for perfectionism.
Okay.
I think that is more so where we struggle, in the sense that how do I put it?
Yeah, you're right, actually. I think that is the biggest
That's the biggest thing. Because if we had our way, thankfully we're starting a YouTube, we just want to put a camera and just talk. We find it difficult to sort of record our everyday life and edit it in a way to fit like what looks perfect and looks beautiful online. That's what our struggle is. Because really and truly, we just like regular shit, want to record regular and just be regular as hell. So I think that is where the struggle is, perfectionism, because the standard of beauty online is
it's unnatural. It's not real.
Yeah.
And really and truly, I just want to set up my camera, show them that we just cook in the kitchen, dance, and do that. So I think that's where the stress of being online comes from.
Because it's not like, 2011 days on Instagram where you just take a picture of your bowl of cereal and you call it a day.
You remember those days? It's really dark.
You didn't need any time for lighting.
I think we have had conversations about what we share and what we don't share. Like, we have definitely had conversations around the boundaries around that.
Okay.
It's been quite fluid, I would say. I don't think we've put like rigid boundaries around what we share and what we don't share. And I think it'll continue to evolve over time. I'm just trying to think what's more specific that I could share right now in terms of like how we navigate putting our lives online. I think unfortunately it could be a blessing or curse. I think we feel a responsibility to share what our reality is, being Black, African, queer men, because there's such a gap as it relates to representation, especially here in the UK. I think maybe, well, not even maybe, we see way more representation from the US. A lot more diverse in the types of couples that we see, a lot more conversations that are happening there. Here, it feels like there's such a gap that we have almost taken on the responsibility to fill that gap. And I wish it didn't have to be that way, but unfortunately, and we could shy away and just be like, no, we're not going to take responsibility for that. But I think we made the choice to fill that void because we know the impact it would have had on us growing up.
Right.
So we keep that front and center. Like we're doing this for our younger child, honestly. Like, and if y'all are here for the ride and y'all enjoy it, then so be it. But we're really doing that for our younger child. Yeah.
So it's kind of.
You're so freaking smart. Like it's actually like so sexy. Damn, Jesus. Okay, sorry.
So it kind of sounds like y'all kind of took that charge to kind of be that representation. I saw a question actually, and that was a pretty interesting question. Who proposed to who?
Do you want to guess? I feel like you're going to guess it right.
Y'all have personalities that really balance each other. That's what makes it hard.
Do you want me to, should I let you know what our star signs are? That might help you.
Like the zodiac signs?
Yeah, do you want to know zodiac?
Drew, you give more like earth.
I am.
Okay. Yeah. And T, you give like air. Maybe water, maybe like a Cancer, but like, I air.
I don't have a clue. He knows I
don't have a clue. You're looking at me for I think he's fire. But you're right. Like one gives more like the other one more.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm a Virgo. Tristan's a Sag.
Okay.
And yeah, Tristan proposed.
Okay.
But I think you're not gonna blend it here. Like there were a lot of like. How do I put it? What is the word here? There were a lot of, what's the word? Deadlines.
Yeah, deadlines.
Deadlines.
Yeah. That's where the Virgo in me comes out.
That you created, Drew, you created.
Okay. Yeah.
I had to propose to him before he was 30. And then because he takes his birthday so seriously, I cannot propose on the same day as his birthday.
I feel like
so.
That's,
I was like, my birthday's about me. It's not about us,
So for his 30th, I flew, like, we went to Italy, so I took him to Italy for his birthday. And then what I did was I proposed to him the day before his birthday. So that is like, I proposed before you're 30, and I also proposed on a day that is not your birthday.
So you did it 2 in 1.
Two. That was it.
Did that.
And I think the proposal was so funny because I had everything planned. Like, I was going to take him to this beautiful bridge, all of that. But we went wine tasting, got drunk, and then I just ended up going to the bridge at night with him and just like, I love you, babe. Like, will you marry me? Because at that point, and yeah, he cried. He was like, are you for real?
and then when he opened up the ring, I was like looking at it, looking in the dark, trying to see if it was the right one. Like,
oh, don't do him like that. Not having to take the mag.
Literally bring it out like, oh, God, he did good.
I saw in the comments somebody said Jay-Z and Beyonce because you know they're Virgo, Sagittarius.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't write the rules.
I also saw, I see another question. Okay, does spirituality play a part in your dynamic?
Does spirituality play a part in our dynamic? In the sense of everything, well, for me personally, everything that we have, every place where we are right now, it does. Because you cannot tell me this is not built on the foundation of God and love. Because prior to COVID, we hadn't had a dime in our account. Like, we were broke, we were in debt. And then after COVID happened, we had more than enough money to have this amazing wedding. After COVID happened, we now have this beautiful life. And yes, hard work helps, but God is the foundation of what we have and the blessings we have. That's where I see spirituality coming in. Now, I think where I find that I should use spirituality better, I think is more so when I have things I'm dealing with, like relationships have their ups and downs. So rather than me always thinking of it from a physical lens, like how can I figure this out? How can I do this? Sometimes I need to pray. It's like I pray to God for when I need the blessings, but when I feel like I just need to talk to him that, hey, I'm struggling with this, can you help me? I forget to do that. So that's my view on spirituality and sort of my take on it. But yeah, God is here, he's present.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I think it does, for sure. Like, there's so many coincidences as it relates to like our union and how we came together. Like the fact that I don't even think Instagram had an explore function when I found his profile in 2012. So I have no idea how he just cropped up. And also the fact that you were the first person I'd ever messaged on Kik. Like I just had this urge to reach out to this person as soon as I saw his profile. I never just like slid into people's DMs like that. That wasn't in my nature back then. And then the fact that just by coincidence, I had been on apps, I had connected with someone in my city who'd invited me to this dinner party, and then just by coincidence, T was there.
That's crazy.
and then he had broken up with his ex, and everything was just right for us to build a solid foundation together. And also, like, we have been together for 10 years, but it hasn't been like 10 years completely on. We've had some breaks. I think it's worth us acknowledging that. But we've always found our way back to each other. And yeah, spirituality definitely has a role to play. Like, I feel it. Like, I feel the fact that this is my person. Yeah.
It gives divine time. I have another question. Someone asked, do you all want kids?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine if I said no and you said yeah.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Yes.
Praying. Surrogacy too. One boy, one girl. I'm sorry, two boys, one from me, one from him, and then adopt a girl. So praying, two boys and a girl.
It was also, I wouldn't really say it's a condition of my parents, but it's kind of a condition.
Oh yeah, it's a condition.
When we talk about cultural norms, for them, the most important thing wasn't so much the sex of my partner, but it's more so the fact that I procreate. Like
You
that
have
is,
kids.
when we're talking about Ugandan cultural norms, that is like the number one thing. They're like, you just have to have kids. They always are pushing
Like,
us to. They want us to start now. They're like,
once they go to a place of acceptance, they're like, okay, well that's good. So now
give us our grandkids.
when the grandkids come in.
Yeah.
With this question, who do y'all think would be like the fun parent?
Drew, 100% Drew.
Yeah,
Drew. Like no doubt. He's a dancer. He's a comedian. He's a cook. I'm just the one to make sure they don't get spoiled. I think that's pretty much it.
We have another question. Okay, how has your family? I know you guys kind of touched on this, but if you don't mind, how's your family back home received your relationship?
I think most of, how will I put it? My parents have received this relationship. I think we had this conversation recently with a friend. I think it's in two folds. The first fold being acknowledging the progress they have made to the journey of acceptance. And I think it's taking time for us to understand that these are people that have been brought up in a certain way of life all their life, culturally, compile that with religion, and then the whole vision, the whole idea that they had for their child is completely changed. So that's the first part. So I think taking into sort of acknowledging the fact that they've made such a great journey to be at a point where I have a relationship with them, I can speak to them, I can have a good conversation with them. Now that's the good fold. The next fold that we're working on is the fact that I haven't seen my parents properly since 2017, so nearly like, Bats is failing right now. 6 years ago? 7 years ago. So I think that there is the aspect of the relationship that will be built when we see each other in person. Now, since Drew and I have been together, like, they haven't seen him like, this is my partner. So since I've come out to them as a gay man, they haven't seen me as a gay man, like, hey, okay. And they haven't then see Drew and I together, like, this is my husband. So I think that will happen. And when it does, I personally don't see them having any issue with it or having any disagreement with it, is because it's happened. We're moving on with our life and they're in the car for the ride, but we just need to see them in person. So I think that would be the answer sort of for my parents.
I think for mine, I have quite I would say quite an estranged relationship with my family back home. So a lot of my immediate family are here, my parents are here, my siblings are here. A lot of my extended family are still living in Uganda. My parents went back to Uganda for the first time this year and reconnected with their siblings after 30 plus years. So I think overall, the relationship is slightly estranged and we've only really started to build that again in person. So for me, I'm not entirely sure how they receive it because I don't necessarily have that deep relationship with them. So it's something that remains to be seen. But I think either way, we're still going to live life the way we want to live our lives. And it doesn't really have any impact or influence on what we do and what our dreams and ambitions are.
I think we're blessed to have families that are accepting us, sort of like in a place where they love us and things like that. But I hate to be the one to say it, even if they did not accept, we would still live our life the way we want. Like, so I'm one of those people. This is where he's going to tap me. No, that's not the PR answer. I will cut you off. Family, friends, all. My love for my husband comes first. So let get in line.
And we actually, and not to plug our YouTube again, but we actually talk about this in our YouTube, because one thing we talk about the concept of coming out, and one part of us coming out is taking responsibility for the consequences that come with coming out and being able to stand 10 toes down on your decision and to live your authentic expression, no matter like the previous relationships you have or the perspectives people hold of you, like you're still going to live your truth. But part of that is obviously being independent, like financial independence is really important. So us having financial independence from our family has allowed us to more easily live the kind of life that we want to live because we're not dependent on them. Like, and also having like, talk about the concept of social chosen family, like we've built our own like social and emotional safety net. Thankfully our family are a part of that, but if it, God forbid, it was going to be a case where they wouldn't be a part of that, we would have been able to still live our authentic lives.
And that takes the utmost, that's a warrior's journey.
Yeah.
And the lady who asked that question, she said, "Thank you for answering my question. As an African trans woman, this is so heartwarming and inspiring." And thank you for that question too.
Thank you.
And we have two more. Okay. I like this one. Was it important to find another African man when it came to getting married and preserving culture?
Ooh.
I like that one.
Sure. For me, I like my coffee black. So, what? So for me, I think it was important to find a partner who understood the Black experience. I think on top of that, that comes with its own, like you talk about layers, right? It's not a monolithic experience at the same time. Tosin, I'm just going to talk specifically about you.
Are you going to drag me out? I know you're going to drag me.
Tosin's Nigerian. And Nigerians are very proud. They're very proud of their culture, and they're very, the ones that I've met anyway. And for me, I felt very disconnected from my Ugandan heritage growing up because I grew up in a predominantly white suburban town outside of London. And Ugandans were not that, there's not many of us anyway, so it's very difficult to connect to like the Ugandan community. Because there's not many of us, whereas I think Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. So there's a very strong sense of community, a very strong sense of identity, heritage, and culture. So Tosin taught me that. Tosin taught me, when I met him, he taught me pride in my heritage. He taught me pride in my culture, having pride in the food that my mum makes. Like, he loves my mum's food. I remember there was points when I was growing up where it sounds weird to say it now, but there were times where felt like almost, I don't want to say ashamed, but like I was ashamed of parts of my Ugandan heritage because I was taught to feel that way because of the signals I had from people around me. And so being able to be with someone who's so proud of their heritage has helped me heal my own relationship that I have with my Ugandan identity and my African identity and my heritage, and it's allowed me to build this deeper connection with Africa, with being Ugandan, by experiencing his pride. So I think that has been an amazing thing to experience, being a part of this relationship. So I wouldn't trade that for the world. Yeah,
that's powerful. It sounds like there was, let me know if I'm wrong, but like a sense of detachment at first and evolving into like a space of embracing.
Yes. Embracing my heritage, my African heritage, my Ugandan heritage, by being with someone who was so proud and so rooted in their own. That has been, one of the biggest healing journeys. I think one of the biggest things that you've taught me. I don't know if I'll let you know that, but yeah.
That's beautiful. You know I love mom's cooking. You can't say that.
We love mom's cooking.
We got questions still rolling in. Okay. Can you recall the moment you let go of the fears of coming out as an African man?
Hmm. Um, I think for me, stages.
Mm.
I think the first stage I let go of the fear was when I had my friends as my support system when I came out to them, and they were like, "Oh, we already knew." So that's when I was
That's
just like,
awesome.
"Okay." So that was the first letting go.
Uh-huh.
The second stage of letting go was when I came out to my sisters and also my sister-in-law. Shout out to her. That was the second stage. Then I think the final stage, funny enough, was not letting go to my parents, was when I came out to my brother. Now, when I came out to my brother, it was such a long journey to accept me because he also had an image of what he wanted for us. We're both married to women, we live next door to each other, kids, blah, 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 all of that. But luckily, my sister-in-law worked on him so much. Like, she kept on saying to him, bro, step it up. Like, you've got to accept, like, this is his life. He's not going anywhere. When he accepted me, that's when I let go completely any fears of coming out because that is my ride or die. Like, this is before my ride or die, but before Drew became that ride or die. Once I had that protection in terms of my friends, my siblings, I had no fears left. Because coming out to my parents, I kind of already expected. My parents are pastors, just to set a bit of like. And when I say pastors, I mean like they had a church. I was a pastors. So coming out to them, I already sort of accepted in my head, even if I'm disowned, I have my life to live.
Right.
So when I had my brother's support, that was it. I was like, hey.
And was your brother older, younger, or like around the same age? Older. Okay.
Just by year. But
is that what you're meaning with? I think I heard you say protection. Okay.
Yeah, because he's the kind of person that once he's accepted me now, nobody can talk to me anyway. I can defend myself, don't get me wrong. But with my brother by my side,
you don't have to worry.
Better speak correctly. Yeah. So that was when I accepted it. When I had my foundation, when I had my support system around me, my chosen family and my family, who else? What are you going to check me for?
Right.
Like, really and truly, what? Check me for?
Who gonna check me, boo? Okay, one last question. I have one more question, but okay, what advice do you have for a fellow African and queer person to pursue a relationship like yours?
Don't. Pursue your own. No, I'm not joking.
Wow.
Firstly, pursue your own idea of a successful relationship. I think if there's one thing that you can take from ours is there is freedom in there not being a blueprint for what an African queer relationship looks like. It's scary because you don't have the representation, but there is freedom in the fact that you can create the new and you can create the type of relationship that you want to inhabit. So I think getting clear on what you want, Africa, one of our the closest friends who officiate our wedding always talks about like being clear on your standards and being clear on your expectations, like knowing yourself, know what are the things you won't compromise on, and being confident that the universe will award you with that. I think it's really important. And then also not subscribing to any blueprints. There's freedom, there's beauty in that. Don't allow other people's projections on how they think a relationship should function. Don't internalize those things. And that's not easy because we struggle with that all the time. Like when we're getting married, like, oh, how should we operate now as a married couple? What should we do differently? So I think that's really, really important. And I think also accept the fact that you don't have to split these different things. You don't have to split your Africanness from your queerness, from your femininity, from your masculinity, from your playfulness, from your corporate self, from your playful, like from your hobbies. All of these things are a part of you. You embody all of these things. Don't let anyone else tell you that one thing has to come without the other. All of you're a full package, you're a full human being. Embrace all sides of yourself and don't think that those things cannot exist in one body. So I think that would be my advice.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because I feel like specifically for Black women across the world, I feel like we have to grow up so fragmented. You know what I mean? We pick and choose the parts that can continue, and we dead the parts that can't. You know, so that was very important that you said, you know, you are one unified person. All these are your parts. You know, why should they be dead? You know what I mean?
And one part doesn't invalidate the other.
Right.
Being African doesn't invalidate your queerness. Being feminine doesn't invalidate the times where you may be more masculine. Working a 9 to 5 doesn't invalidate your desire to go to the club and take Yash at the weekend with your friends. Like, owning everything is duality, and I think being able to own that is really important.
Yeah, that was, both of y'all had some beautiful responses. So this is my final question. Now that it is 1 minute away from Valentine's Day, what do y'all have planned?
Okay, I will answer this one. Yeah. I think we've gotten to a stage where we realize Valentine's isn't about the bells and whistles. Valentine's is about doing the things you love with the person you love, whatever that might be. So for us, Valentine's tomorrow looks like waking up, me making breakfast for him, we go into indoor VR gaming and like shooting some zombies up, going for dinner, coming back home, coming and watching a movie. That's our perfect Valentine. We can do all the bells and whistles when we travel the world and explore all of that, but I'm not going to sacrifice that one day to make it into this firework.
One size fits all, do what everybody else does type of thing.
Exactly.
That definitely makes sense. Oh, it's midnight now. Where y'all at?
Yes.
We love this. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
This is very good. Like I said, this could definitely be a 50-part. I got a lot of other questions. But I don't want to take too much of y'all's time. But before we leave, I want to know, is there anything you guys want to announce to our audience that you guys would like to share?
Okay, so something that has been sort of asked of us quite a bit is to share a little bit more of our stories like we've done on live.
Right.
I think from the questions, it's people want to know a lot more about history and also what we have in the future. We have started our YouTube channel, T and Drew, where we are going to be doing long form, talking about our coming out stories, inviting friends over to talk about their experience, sort of the journey we've had, family. So I think we want to sort of open ourselves a bit more to the world, but more. I'm going to ask you that question though.
In long form.
The host is cute. Is he single?
I try to pretend I didn't see
I saw it. So we'll come back to that.
For Valentine's Day. Because...
So yeah, long form content where we are talking a lot more about our lives and our families and our journeys. So yeah, sign up to YouTube and get involved in the conversation.
At T and Drew, TEE and Drew.
Yes,
okay. A&D Drew.
Yes. Drew. That's the same.
I'm personally definitely going to be subscribing to that.
Oh,
yes,
thank you.
Definitely.
So the first video drops this Sunday.
Okay.
Yes.
So at the moment, there's just, I think, our wedding trailers on there, but we'll be posting consistently from going out.
And I like YouTube as a format too. I feel like it allows you to kind of be more real and kind of gives you more of the space to kind of articulate everything you're trying to, put out.
Yeah. TikTok feels like it's very short form. We can't really allow people to get to know us the way that we want to.
Right.
And go to the depth that we like.
The depth, But okay, this was definitely fun, yo.
I'm gonna let you run away from that question because I can see your voice in the question.
I'm about to log out.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yes, definitely nice. Well, never mind, I was about to say. But definitely nice. meet y'all. Yeah, hope y'all have fun. And I feel like this is definitely a productive, very
Yes.
eye-opening conversation for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
making it so comfortable.
Yes, definitely. I
We're
try.
leaving, guys. We're off to bed. It's 12
Right,
a.m.
right. I was like, let me get y'all to bed. But all right, happy Valentine's Day, y'all. And once
Thank
again,
you.
this
You too.
is our second annual Love on Live series. And this is T and Drew.
Take care. Good night.
All right, bye y'all.